So we're going to talk a little bit about, like, when I present my view, what it sounds like. I'm going to tell you a story, but first I'm going to introduce the equal rights argument because I didn't come up with this. This is something I learned with Josh Braun, and I really appreciated it, and it's been very helpful. When we look at it as a human rights issue, and we feel the way we do, we can explain it in that context, in a way that kind of moves just away from the unborn and to all people. I believe everyone deserves equal human rights, and presenting it in this way, not just around abortion, is really helpful because it ties into abortion and everything else I believe. So, I'm a college student, and college students get really grumpy and really tired, especially any time after Monday at noon, because I've had enough class for the week. And this happened on a Thursday, and so I get out of a lecture, and I had another lecture starting at 4 o'clock. And the lecture that was starting at 4 o'clock is my least favorite class of the semester. And it was 2:45. And I got to my class early because I had another one that just got out. And I was like, yes, 1 hour, me and my Spotify, Frank Sinatra, kicked back, we're gonna take a nap. So I have my headphones in, my feet up. College students, we nap in public, and it's not a shameful thing at all. It's not even weird. So, I'm in a comfortable chair, and I'm in, a big study area. So there are people around me, doing work, and, I'm napping, me, okay. So, there are, all these different people around, and here I am in my zone. And I see my friend, we're gonna call her Mary for the story, that's not her real name. I see her coming, and I'm like, no, because I know she wants to talk to me. And she's in the class I have at 4 o'clock. And we've known each other for a little while. She came to my 21st birthday party. And we have some mutual friends, my roommates know her. And so I knew she was gonna come and she would want to hang out for an hour. And I'm trying to be a better person in my life, and I'm trying to be less selfish. So I say a prayer, and I'm like, Lord Jesus, I give you this time. I really want this nap, but I'm gonna sacrifice it for you because I love you. And I'm like, please give me some grace here because I'm about to tell this girl to go away. And I didn't know what she wanted to talk about. I thought she was gonna come up and chat about classes and stuff. But she sits down next to me, hey Rachel, blah blah blah, little small talk. I take my headphones out, turn Frank off, and I'm talking with her. And it only takes her a couple minutes of small talk to be so let me ask you something. I'm like, okay. Are you crazy religious? I was like, yeah, because I'm intellectually honest, right? I'm not gonna lie. Yes, I'm a crazy religious person. And she's like, okay, because I was really confused. Yeah, why? Because you're kind of cool, and you're also a women's studies minor. I'm like, okay, well, thanks. And then she kind of had a pause. She's thinking, and she's like, can I ask you some questions? I said, I would love for you to ask me any question you want because I'm going to give you an honest answer. Because I feel it coming, I can tell she has something going on. And she kind of asked me about politics, and she asked me if I'm conservative, and she's asked me all these things that I'm this is not what she wants to talk about. She wants to talk about something else. And so I'm kind of answering her questions, figuring it out. And then she is kind of thinking about what to ask me next after we talk about gun control and economics. I'm I don't care about economics, whatever. And she's paused. So I say, what do you really want to know? What are you really wondering about me? How do you feel about abortion? She says. And I'm oh, yeah, I like talking about abortion. Let's talk about abortion. Okay. Little kid Rachel in my head's doing a dance. And then she starts crumping, And so anyway, I was well, I feel really strongly about abortion. How do you feel about abortion? Well, my mom almost aborted me. Ah, okay. So, why? Why did she almost abort you? That's a weird thing. Not a lot of people tell me that. She's well, I was diagnosed with a mental disability. I was a false positive. This girl is a neuroscience major at the University of Michigan. She does not have mental impairment. And she's very intelligent. And so I'm sure that that's hard for her to imagine first of all, having a parent like that, it's hard to put us in like another person's shoes with that kind of disability. But also to imagine that her mom could have aborted her, right? So that really helped that I knew that right off the bat. And so I was like, okay, well, and we talked a little bit about her mom's experience, and I asked some questions. And she kind of told me she said that her mom is also crazy religious, and that her mom is like super pro-life. So I was a little confused with that when we talked about that for a little while. And eventually I kind of got down to the kind of conversation we're talking about today. So now Rachel's like switching gears from like, okay, Mary's feeling pretty good, let's try to change her mind. Because she doesn't seem like she agrees with me. So I was like asking about like when is an abortion okay and when should it not be okay, and because she said she was in a women's studies class and they talked about a lot of things. And she's like, well, I think like once the heart starts beating, when like it's a fetus and like it's like, I don't know, like the mom's like showing and stuff like that, and I'm like thinking, this doesn't sound medically accurate, because like a lot of the things she was saying, she was like arms and legs, like, like in the 9th month, and I'm like, okay, what? And so, being the weird person I am, I have a fetal development chart in my backpack. So I take out a fetal development chart, I'm like, I have this handy dandy like reference guide, look at this. Little does she know, this is from Equal Rights Institute. So I'm like showing her the fetal development chart, and she's looking, oh my gosh, well, okay, I think like 3 weeks would be like the line, because it's kind of weird. Did you know that most women don't know they're pregnant at that stage? We clarify some things, And we moved through, and like we were talking. And eventually she's like, you never answered my question how you feel about abortion. And I said, yeah, I didn't yet, but I will. And so then I presented this equal rights argument. And so I said, we're looking at this field development chart, which clears up some stuff. I still think it's a little hard to understand. So do you care if I like talk about the people we can see right now? And she was like, okay. And so like we're sitting and we're like facing all these people studying. And I said, that person over there is a different race than us. And we're all different levels of intelligence, and I can't run really fast, and that guy over there looks like he could like outrun me in a heartbeat. And I'm probably sure I'm not the slowest person in this room, maybe I am, I don't know. And so I'm talking about like all these different things. Ability, race, like gender, sex, like religion, all these different things that like make us different. Like I'm talking like I'm on Sesame Street or something. And she's kind of like cracking up. And so like I'm telling her, she's like, okay, where are you going with this? I said, well, I think that despite all our different degrees in all these different areas, some of them are on a spectrum, some of them are black and white, I think that because we're all different, we're still equal. And I said, social justice is like a really hot button issue with our age group, isn't it? She's like, yeah. I said, okay, I think that this kind of ties into social justice too. We all deserve equal human rights. Everyone we can see right now is human and living. And because of those two things, they're equally living and they're equally human, right? We don't have degrees of humanity. I said, and because of that, I think they belong in the bubble. She's like, the bubble? I'm like, yes, the bubble. Everyone inside of the bubble gets the same equal rights. And everyone outside doesn't get any of those same rights. She's like, who's outside? I'm like, bugs, and squirrels, and elephants, and trees, and like everything except for humans. I think every human is inside though. And so I kind of described that, and then I also kind of tied it in, and I said, a lot of people want to kick people out of this bubble. I think that there were times in history when men kicked women out of the bubble, and blacks and Jews were kicked out of the bubble. And right now, in our society, the unborn is not in that bubble, is it? They don't have the same human rights as us. And really, that's the best way I can describe how I feel about abortion. I think they should be in the bubble because they're human, they're living, and they're whole. And I said, I also think it's kind of moving in a direction where the disabled, sick, elderly, and unwanted are getting pushed out too. But when we're talking about abortion, the unborn are at stake. And so I kind of tied that in, right? And her response was like, whoa. radical, you know? And then immediately, but I still think we should be able to have it because of like cases of rape. And we need abortion still for that. And how do you feel about homosexuality? So like, she did the thing where she moved on. And I haven't brought up abortion with my friend since then, even though I've seen her. But I think that it's going to come around where she's going to bring it up again. If she doesn't, I might. And I think it'd be a safe thing to do because the conversation was awesome. Her like mind was really going, and I want to let that sit and let her think about it for a little while. Guess what the other thing she needs to think about for a while? In my Equal Rights Institute packet of the prenatal development chart, I also had abortion graphic images. And with her consent, after I had presented my view, I asked her if she wanted to know what abortion looked like. She was like, yeah, I do. I said, okay, well, I conveniently have them in this packet. And so then I allowed her to look through. And I'll tell you, the packet has abortion images in like all these different levels of gestation. The one she opened first was a 20-week abortion. It's the most horrific image I've ever seen for abortion before. And I saw her face while she looked at that baby. And I looked at that baby too with her, okay? There's a certain amount of raw bonding that happens in a friendship like that. And although we haven't talked about abortion since then, we've talked about a lot of things that she really needs to talk about in her life with somebody who has their head on straight. I don't know if that person's me, but she's come to me, so, you know, I really encourage you to like invest in the time where you can have a conversation like that with a friend and still be a friend. And be a better friend and a different kind of friend than you were before.